Report Network has a new and exclusive line of clothing. First up, the Jiu-Jitsu Rash Guard. This isn't just gear, it's a statement. A commitment to eco-friendly battles on the mats and waves. And for those who live by the bold champion spirit, we have something special. A line for men and women designed not just for the fight, but for life. Wear our bold champion spirit of Jiu-Jitsu Rash Guard confidently. Its striking design with golden figures in combat honors the enduring spirit of competition in martial arts. Pair it with our unisex mesh shorts, the perfect combo of style, comfort, and eco-conscious design for the modern warrior. And don't forget, our Jiu-Jitsu Bold Champion Spirit leggings. This attire is expertly engineered to channel the champion spirit in every move you make. Together, it's not just about looking good. It's about feeling the part and living the Jiu-Jitsu way, both on and off the mats. Meticulously crafted for the yoga studio, the gym, and beyond, blending style, comfort, and the heart of a champion. Wear your passion, embody sustainability, and elevate your practice. Join the league of athletes who wear their values as proudly as their belts. It's more than clothing, it's a way of life. Ringside Report Network, where champions dress for success, sustainability, and the spirit of the sport.
Attention to all professional wrestling fans and followers of the legendary Johnny Genesis North. We are releasing a must-have collection of Johnny North merchandise in our store at merch.ringsidereport.net, starting with our limited edition Johnny Genesis North 3/4 sleeve t-shirt. With a unique design capturing Johnny in action, this tee exudes raw energy and intensity through its versatile 3/4 sleeves for any weather. Stand with our legendary co-host, Johnny North. Make a bold statement in the wrestling community by getting yours today, exclusively at merch.ringsidereport.net.
Get ready to amp up your betting game with Ringside Report Network's latest knockout offer. We've teamed up with our pals at Bet99.com to bring you something that will shake up the betting world. Dave's Picks with boosted odds. Here's the lowdown. Normally you see odds like -200 over at Bet99, right? Picture this. We hit up our buddies at Bet99 and worked out some magic. Suddenly those odds? They're looking a whole lot sweeter at -150. That's right, and we're all about getting you those exclusive, juiced-up odds, only for the Ringside Report universe. So here's the game plan. We dish out the picks, and you keep those eyes peeled. You might see a number on Bet99, but hold up. Wait until Saturday morning rolls around. Thanks to those boosted odds we've snagged for you, those numbers will look much better. I'm all for Bet99 doing great, but let's not kid ourselves. We want to win big too. It's all in good fun, and hey, it's part of the thrill of the game. They're in on it, and we're in on it. It's all about having a blast while pocketing some extra cash. Ready to take advantage of those boosted odds? Go to the special Ringside Report Bet99 link on your screen. We're all about seeing how much we can boost the odds for you, our loyal viewers. And a huge thank you to Bet99 for their support of the Ringside Report Network.
We're reviewing SmackDown, The Rock versus Cody. Is it happening? When's it happening? And AEW airs the CM Punk footage. Wrestling Uncensored is live. We are live. We are here. Johnny is here. We're ready to roll. Johnny, how are you? What a big week in professional wrestling. WrestleMania has come and gone last weekend. We've seen the Raw after WrestleMania, the SmackDown after WrestleMania. It is, as they're saying, a new era in the WWE. As we saw from our great United States champion tonight on SmackDown, it is known as the Logan Paul Levesque era, of course, and we're all living in it, and we're all loving it. Right?
I mean, it's nice to have new champions. That's really the big difference so far. New look for Raw and SmackDown a little bit. It's nice that they're getting full crowds. I question if they'll have a sellout for Montreal, though. They might cheat and say they have a sellout when it's only 11,000, but I checked for the tickets, and you can still buy tickets on the floor for Montreal, and it's Monday, the show.
Whoa. I did see, I think they've dropped ticket prices for the show.
Oh,
Maybe you can
great. Like $400 tickets instead of $500 tickets? Like, because that's what it is right now for the floor.
Okay. So I guess tickets are still available Monday night in Montreal. I will be at Raw, which is kind of fun. Are you going to Raw?
I was going to go to Raw, but now I have another commitment. I won't be able to make it to Raw, unfortunately.
Oh. Well, that's too bad. What are you doing?
Well, I have a job.
Shoot
money,
stuff.
So I'd rather go there.
Stuff. Yeah. I get it. So WWE Raw is going to be in Montreal. They've already advertised Samuel Zayn defending the Intercontinental Championship against Chad Gable and the return of Sheamus to the WWE. So Sheamus is coming back, which is kind of fun. And I guess we'll see other things. I don't know. I don't know what else they have in store for us on Monday night. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I like some of the new directions that the WWE has taken. I want to get right into it. I mean, you know, I'm not going to mince words here, John. We're going to dive deep immediately because that's how we play on Wrestling Uncensored. I like some of the new directions, but this week, tonight, SmackDown, you kind of go, it's a new era, and what has changed, really? I mean, there's some new champions, it's a little different, but we also now, after WrestleMania, post-WrestleMania, don't have The Rock or the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. The two biggest stars that they had in the company are now gone, and it feels a little empty. And you talk about the ticket sales not being great for Monday Night Raw coming up on Monday. They have all these straight sellouts, right? They keep talking about, we're selling out here, we're selling out there, we're making the entrance smaller just to fit more people in the arenas because it's all about the fans, and we want to give them a chance to come in and pay top dollar for these tickets. And without The Rock, without Roman Reigns, without CM Punk, I don't know if they're going to continue to have these sellouts going forward. Because I'm looking at Monday Night Raw. I have tickets. I'm going. I love wrestling. I love the WWE. I'm going to go. It's Raw, right? But what they have advertised is not exciting. If I didn't have tickets, if I was like 50-50 on going. Nothing that they have presented to me would make me want to go. I look at Monday Night Raw from this past week, and I know what to expect coming up this Monday on Raw, for the most part. I know that The Rock is not going to be on the show. I know that CM Punk isn't advertised, so he's not going to be on the show. So who am I going to get? I'm going to get Sami Zayn and Chad Gable in the main event, which, you know, it's not a big draw. It's not The Rock, you know. And you get the return of Sheamus, who wasn't booked particularly strong. I like Sheamus. I'm a fan of Sheamus. I'm not trying to disparage any of the guys advertised, Gable, Sammy, Sheamus. It's fine. But who are you going to see? You're going to see Gable. You're going to see Sammy. You're going to see Sheamus. You're going to see Jey Uso. You're going to see Drew McIntyre. You're going to see Cody. It's not that appealing. It's not that exciting. And I think when you look at the WWE going forward, what are their main events? What are they actually going to put forward here at their next pay-per-view, Backlash, pay-per-view, premium live event, whatever you want to call it? The first match they have booked is Damian Priest, the world champion, against Jey Uso. That's not really a main event. When you're coming off Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, when you're coming off Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins versus The Rock and Roman Reigns, hey, they don't even have Seth Rollins anymore. And now you're looking at Backlash. After a huge WrestleMania, it was awesome. But this is the post-WrestleMania dip, and it's a dip. Damian Priest versus Jey Uso for the world title. The world title is Backlash. And then Cody Rhodes versus the winner of AJ Styles versus LA Knight next week, which, going into the triple threat with AJ Ray and Kevin Owens, after LA Knight had won the triple threat earlier, you knew AJ was going to win, and you know that AJ is going to beat LA Knight next week, and it's going to be AJ versus Cody in Cody's first title defense, and it's going to be a nice little easy title defense for Cody against good old AJ Styles, and they'll have good wrestling matches, but Cody's ultimately going to win, and no one is actually going to take AJ Styles as a threat. And if you're actually looking at that as your WrestleMania Backlash or Backlash France main event, it's pretty weak. It's pretty weak. And quite frankly, despite all their problems with AEW, going forward, if you look at the rosters that each company has, I like what AEW is presenting compared to what the WWE is showing us right now. WrestleMania was great. Give them the love. But let's not pretend like we didn't see the TV this week and we don't know what we have coming up and we don't know what we have moving forward. The big reveal they had tonight was Tama Tonga. It was a cool angle. It was well done. I liked it. We'll talk about it. But Tama Tonga is not a needle mover. You know who is a needle mover? Will Ospreay. Kazuchika Okada. Needle movers. AEW got those guys. I'm just saying. The talent, where the talent is, where the top matches are going to be. I look at that AEW Dynasty show coming up on the 21st. Ospreay and Danielson is going to be ridiculous. That card is going to be very, very good. Swerve and Joe, like AEW is going to kill it. And moving forward, I think, WrestleMania was great, and right now everybody's looking at AEW as a big joke and WWE is just this monster and everything, but I'm looking at it and going, I don't know. WWE was cool for a minute there with The Rock. He made wrestling cool, as he said, which he did because he's cool and he's fun. But now, I don't know, John. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
It's tough to say in that sense.
Am I wrong, dude?
Sorry. Has Okada really proven himself yet in AEW to say that he's a needle mover? I don't feel like he's really shown that yet.
When he's on the screen, I go, ooh, I got to watch this. He's a guy that's worth paying attention to. A lot of these guys in WWE, you're like, skip, skip, skip. Damian Priest is a world champion right now. I like Damian Priest as a wrestler, but as the world champion, I'm not seeing it. I don't know how long this run is going to last, but there are other guys on the roster here. Maybe they want like a really weak champion as the world champion, and so to make Cody look good as the WWE champion, because even Cody kind of looks like a lame duck at this point. Maybe that's me. But Cody finished the story, so story over.
I tweeted during SmackDown that I found it kind of odd. We have two people saying they're the undisputed champions, and Cody, and now Bayley said it tonight. And I find that kind of odd when you have a world heavyweight champion and you have a women's world champion as well. Like, why do you have undisputed champions when it's clearly disputed titles? I found that weird, and I don't feel that makes a lot of sense, to be honest. Why is there so many titles?
I don't know. I mean, they made more championships at WrestleMania by splitting up the tag belts, John. You tell me. I don't have an explanation for this. A lot of this makes no sense to me. Lior says... Sorry, go ahead. I'll get to Lior's question in a minute.
I disagree with the idea that we need two world champions. I don't mind Damian Priest as world heavyweight champion. I just don't feel like we need a world heavyweight title. If is Cody on both shows now? Because that's what it seems like.
So is Jade Cargill for some reason. They made a big deal about signing Jade Cargill to SmackDown, and this week she shows up on Raw and beats Chelsea Green. And then she's back on SmackDown this week, on Friday. Tonight she she teams with Bianca Belair to beat Chelsea Green and Piper Niven in a short match, and Jade's performance was clunky as hell. That spinebuster was horrible. And even Jade, after doing it, looked at Chelsea and goes, "What was that?" And then she kicked her, and then she hit her finish, and then the match was over. It was not good. It was not good. Her and Bianca look cool together. They look like a team of superheroes. They look incredible. Bianca's good. She sold. She was doing the selling in the match, and then Jade got the tag, and yeah. Finisher looked nice. Hit that strong.
You shouldn't be surprised by Jade's performance. You've seen all her matches in AEW.
Yep. But she had to hit two moves. And, I've seen her hit two moves in AEW successfully. But in this match, first move she had to hit, botch.
Yeah, but that also goes with who you're working with, too.
Yeah, that too, I guess. Lior asks, how long do you guys think until the crowd starts turning on Cody? Definitely feels like it'll happen before the end of the year. Ryan Katz says if WWE books Cody right, they won't. I think it'll be tough. I think if you put him up against AJ Styles at Backlash, it'll be all right. The crowd will stay with Cody for the most part, especially in France. I don't think they'll start, turning on him with that. But if it was LA Knight, like, say WWE has LA Knight win next week just to see, let's see what happens. Let's do LA Knight versus Cody. Let's go for it, which is a big match, which is more exciting than AJ Styles versus Cody, even though I'm quite certain that's where they're going. But if they do LA Knight versus Cody Rhodes, who does the crowd cheer for? Two baby faces, beloved, but LA Knight's kind of the underdog now, isn't he? Cody is the guy handpicked by the company, hugging Bruce Pritchard and Triple H after he wins against Roman Reigns. He has John Cena and The Undertaker help him win. I mean, Cody is the Office. Cody is the corporate champion. Cody is the handpicked son of the American dream. LA Knight is the guy not born into the business, not handpicked, picked to be, a stupid gimmick with the male models and everything, managed to ditch it, rise above, and become the guy that he is today. One of the top stars in the WWE and one of the most over guys completely on his own. Cody, corporate champion. LA Knight, very much like the Stone Cold Steve Austin story. Stone Cold was given that ringmaster gimmick. It was garbage, didn't work. He got rid of it, flipped it, and made himself something all his own. Figured it out, got over despite the WWE. They weren't trying to push Steve Austin. The WWE wasn't trying to push LA Knight. The work spoke for itself. They got over. They tried to saddle them with bad gimmicks. They got over. They rose above. I think you could do something with LA Knight versus Cody Rhodes as a heel. Heel Cody is the corporate champion. Like, there's a story you could tell there, but I don't think they're going to go there. I think they're going to ride out this babyface run until the crowd goes, all right, we've had enough of this, which kind of sucks. I would rather they just flip Cody now, make it like, oh my God, I can't believe they flipped Cody heel, rather than ride it out until it grows stale and then flip him. Because then we have to sit through some stale stuff. Why let it go stale? Why not just flip him? But I feel like they're going to ride out this Cody babyface run for at least a few of these premium live events. Backlash, I would say at least till SummerSlam. And then, we'll see. To answer your question, Lior, I think the fans may turn on him. I think Cody may turn heel at some point. I think there are a lot of signs that point to it. I'm hearing from a lot of people that were Cody fans that are now kind of like, he's kind of annoying. It's kind of the same old with him. I'm like, yeah, I like him though. I like Cody. Fundamentally, I like them all. I'm a fan of all these guys, but I could see Cody being a heel. I could see Cody being a heel. I don't know if they'll do it. I feel like not anytime soon, right?
Yeah, I don't feel they feel the audience overall is tired of Cody as a babyface. I think a lot of kids look up to Cody. He still sells a lot of merch. Granted, The Rock, I think, and CM Punk are ahead of him right now, but still, he sold a lot of merch. Apparently, millions of dollars worth of merch, like the whole weekend of WrestleMania. So that's super impressive. I mean, you can't deny how over Cody is, regardless if there might be maybe a minority that feel that he's starting to lose it a bit. We're starting to feel that a little, sure, but I don't think they're going to turn it yet. I wasn't a fan of the promo tonight. I didn't like some of the things that he used in the promo.
Yeah.
Like what he said about The Rock, and then he used a Brandy line. And it's like, if you felt that way, why didn't you say it? Because saying it after the fact, after he left, you use the B word, you kind of look like the B word yourself by not saying anything and just standing there the whole promo for 20 minutes.
Yep.
We're getting there.
And look, John, we see these things ahead of most wrestling fans, not because we're some geniuses, but because we pay closer attention. Right? We're watching all the shows, we're really paying attention, we're analyzing this stuff way more than anybody does or should, right? So we're kind of seeing these things and we're seeing these trends, and eventually they do happen. The audiences do turn. We see it coming, and it'll come. I think that the wrestling fans will turn on Cody. He's a big babyface now because, if you see him once or twice a month, you like the act. But once you've seen him once, twice, 3, 4, 5, dozens of times, then you go, maybe I like this other guy better. Oh, who's this LA Knight guy? He's pretty good too, isn't he? Oh, he won Money in the Bank. Oh, I like this, Things could happen. So, I just feel like there are signs, and it may go down. The problem is, I believe they are going to try and keep Cody a babyface until WrestleMania 41, when he faces off against the final boss. And I think they may even keep the belt on him until WrestleMania next year when he wrestles The Rock. Because that promo that he did with The Rock definitely felt like they were setting up some kind of match. And The Rock's going away for a while, and Hollywood, and Cody said, I'll be waiting here, I'll be right here when you come back. So what do you think's going on? What do you think they're setting up? I think The Rock will be back next year for Mania against Cody. And they may keep Cody champion until then, and they may keep Cody a babyface until then, so we could see the heel Rock character emerge.
Well, for me, that's way too long. I'd rather Cody Rock SummerSlam. Let's speed this up a little bit instead of having to wait year to year for these matches, because that just drags everything a little bit. We already had a over 3-year title reign. That kind of dragged a little bit at the end. So we don't need a 1-year title reign to drag all the way for that 1 year. Let's just get right to it. SummerSlam's enough. You're already feeling that the AJ Styles title defense is a waste. So, if you feel that way, it's only going to get worse from there, I think. So, I think you need The Rock at SummerSlam. Don't wait for WrestleMania. Let's get going.
I think the match will be good. I think it'll be a nice little match for Cody to have to start his title reign. But, do you think AJ's going to beat him?
I think the idea is pretty much remember when Roman started a title reign a couple of years ago? AJ was his first opponent, and AJ was just there to make him look good. And I think that's what AJ is here for Cody, is just to make Cody look good, which I think he'll do a good job of doing. He did it against LA Knight at WrestleMania. He'll do it with Cody. He does it with everybody. So that's not the problem. The problem is where you go from there afterwards. I don't feel like there's a lot of people lined up to face Cody as strong as AJ is, actually. It's only going to get lesser than AJ, and it's not going to help him. So I feel instead of going through a year's worth of weak opponents, let's just go right to The Rock at SummerSlam.
I think there is an opponent emerging for Cody, and his name is Solo Sikoa. Because the performance tonight from, I think, John, I don't want to do this, but I think we have to maybe start acknowledging a new tribal chief. Solo Sikoa.
You think Solo's the new tribal chief? Really? Right now?
I do.
Well, he hasn't earned it, that's for sure. I mean, he hasn't won a match since he beat John Cena, and that was back in November?
He's about to go on a massive run. I mean, did you see what happened tonight? This was a masterful performance from Solo Sikoa. I love this segment that they did. It was good. Really good storytelling.
It was.
So
not sold that he's a main eventer though.
Just wait to see what they do here. If you did not see it, Paul Heyman, Solo Sikoa, and Jimmy Uso are in the ring for a promo, and it seems like Heyman is just there to talk about Roman Reigns losing, and and Heyman says that it is by order of the tribal chief that they accept accountability for what happened at WrestleMania 40, and Roman got distracted, and Cody took advantage and took the belt, but says, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, the tribal chief, and then Solo grabs the microphone from Heyman, and Heyman's like, well, what's going on here? And Solo says, well, winning and losing matters, right? So there's consequences to losing. And consequences means change. And it looks like Solo is going to maybe do something to Paul Heyman. But he kind of moves Heyman out of the way. Heyman goes into the corner. And he goes to his brother Jimmy, and he hugs him, and he says, you're my brother. I love you. And then a hooded man jumps in the ring and starts attacking Jimmy Uso, and he is revealed to be Tama Tonga, who is a wrestler from New Japan Pro Wrestling, has been in the Bullet Club for many, many years, and now he's in the WWE. And he is not directly related to Solo, but I think they probably count him in that whole family tree. I'm not even sure. I don't think he's Samoan. He's Tongan. It's different.
Yeah, but I think they still, because he's with Haku, right? He's related to Haku, so they counted Haku, I believe, in that whole family tree, no?
Yeah, I think so. They count everybody. All the Islanders are all counted in that giant family tree, even if they're not actually related by blood. So Tama Tonga, now aligning himself with Solo Sikoa, holds up Jimmy Uso. They beat up Jimmy. Solo spikes him. Heyman is mortified. Heyman selling this like the Hall of Famer that he is. Tama Tonga then puts the finger up to acknowledge. And you're like, what's going on here? And Solo then kind of grabs Heyman and brings him in the middle of the ring to stand with him. And he's like, Solo's putting the finger up, standing in the middle, and Heyman puts his finger up. And then he grabs his phone and he's like, call Roman Reigns. And Solo grabs the phone and he's like, nah, and he smashes the phone and he stomps on it. And Heyman can't believe what's going on. And then Solo puts Jimmy's head in a chair and tells him that he loves him. And then he does the running butt thing into the chair. Running butt move. And, crushes his trachea or whatever is supposed to happen when you do that with the head in the chair. He kills him. He murders his brother on television. It was very good. Solo sold it great. Heyman was amazing. Tama Tonga was cool to see. And I think Solo now is taken over as the new tribal chief. They had a little segment backstage where Kayla was like, Heyman, what's going on here? And Heyman's like, And then Tonga shows up and he's like, that's by order of the tribal chief. And we're supposed to be wondering, did Roman Reigns tell them to do that to Jimmy Uso and just not inform Heyman? But I don't think that's the case. I think what's really happening is Solo Sikoa, because Roman has lost, is now taking his spot as the new tribal chief, which was always the plan to kind of, when Roman moves away and stops doing it, there'll be the new tribal chief, and it'll be, it was supposed to be Jay, right, at a time, or maybe Jimmy, and now I think Solo is like, no, it's me. I'm taking over, and I've got my guys. I've got a whole new crew. I think we will also see Tongaloa, because I think Tongaloa signed to the WWE as well, so he'll join up with his brother Tama Tonga, and there'll be a new crew in the WWE on SmackDown, and Solo will be their leader. And I think eventually it'll lead to a match with Roman and a lot of stuff. And I think also Solo could be an opponent for Cody. I think Solo is about to be the top heel on SmackDown. You don't think so?
I think he'll be a big heel. To me, it felt like they were going to be a big tag team. That's what it seemed like they were going with. But maybe you're right. Maybe it'd be singles. But they got to do a lot of work here because they did not do Solo any favors after that John Cena victory. Because having him lose every match doesn't help him at all. So you have to really reestablish him at this point. He's going to get a lot of wins, I think. If it wins matter now, apparently, he has to really help himself to get himself back in title contention because he's completely out of it right now.
He looked pretty strong tonight, though, right? In this new era, in this kind of restart, he looked pretty strong, and him standing in the center and kind of taking Heyman as like his wise man, taking him hostage, it seemed like a new story that they're starting. I thought it was well done, and I think that there's a lot that you could do with it. A lot with Solo. If he could get, if they are bringing in Tangaloa too, if he has Tama Tonga and Tangaloa as his new backup, and Heyman there kind of as his manager being held hostage because Roman Reigns isn't around to save him and defend him, Roman can come back as a babyface. There's a lot you can do. People are already talking about Solo and Tama Tonga versus Jimmy and Jay at a SummerSlam or something, you know? There are matches you can do. Maybe Jimmy and Roman at SummerSlam versus Solo and Tama. There's a lot of stuff you can do.
No, you're right. You're 100% right. There's things that can happen here, but we still have the draft coming up soon, so.
Sorry. Jimmy, Jay, Roman, original bloodline versus Solo, Tama Tonga, Tangaloa. That's big. And I know they want to do that match. Like, I'm sure Roman and the Uso, like, all those guys would love to do that one.
Yeah, but you got to build up this new bloodline first. They're nowhere close to that level. Like, to me, that feels like they just get demolished. Because that old bloodline was on top for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And this new bloodline, they had a good moment, but that's all they've had so far.
Yeah. Now, that match you might have to do at maybe Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, possibly next year. Like, that could be the Mania match next year. If you're, like, let's book Mania 41. You do Rock versus Cody, and you do Roman and the Usos versus Solo, Tama Tonga, and Tangaloa, and you spend the whole year building up Solo and his new group with Paul Heyman on a pole. Whoever wins gets Heyman.
So, The Rock's a heel, but Roman's a face?
Yeah. And you can also set up Rock and Roman for the next year or whatever if you want. I don't know. Rock can get involved with that and Cody's thing. It can be in both nights. There's a lot of options. I mean, it's a long time away, and who knows how everything's going to shake out. Who knows what the WWE has planned, right? I'm just throwing ideas out there, and I think after seeing Raw, Rock and Cody is very likely for WrestleMania next year, at the very least. Like, all this Solo stuff, who knows? Who knows where they're going with this? It's brand new. But Rock and Cody seems likely, right? After that promo?
I definitely want it sooner. Like, I think WrestleMania is way too far away. I think we need it at SummerSlam. I would do, hopefully, Rock and Roman at WrestleMania. Let's get to that at that point. I feel we need to speed this up a little bit more. Because we've talked about this for a while. Like, you know, it was good to have The Rock back, but he's not going to always be back. So take advantage of what we have while we have it, kind of thing. Yeah, he's with the board now. He's always going to be attached to WWE, but have these kind of matches like he had at WrestleMania like a couple days ago, not many of those are going to happen. So I think it's better to take advantage of that now instead of, oh, let's do it a couple of years from now. No, now.
But he's got movies. Like, I don't know if he's going to be available for SummerSlam.
Yeah, that's the thing. Hopefully he is. Like they said, he probably will be gone until the summer.
Okay.
So hopefully hopefully that will work out. I mean, I know SummerSlam, I believe, is what, the first week of August?
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully he comes back soon in summertime.
It's like 3 months away.
Well, that's it, though. I mean, we got time. You get time to let that breathe a little bit, but let's get to this before, next year's April, because that's so far away.
Yeah. It's weird. You're usually the one saying, no, push it. And I'm like, no, let's get to it. And now you're doing the opposite of me. I think they're going to push it. I think they're going to do Mania for Cody and Rock. I don't think we see it at SummerSlam. Maybe we do Cody Roman again at SummerSlam.
Oof. Well, yeah, I could see, because the trilogy fight, I could see that, sure. I feel that could happen almost anywhere, really. It doesn't need to be a SummerSlam. It could be Survivor Series. It could just be a random, whatever, No Mercy kind of show or whatever. Night of Champions or whatever. They could do it on that. It doesn't need to be a big one. Just to have Roman available, Cody available, just get it done.
The Rock took the belt from Cody, wanted to feel it, wanted to hold it, know what it felt like. He never had it before, and Cody's like, okay, well, give me your People's Championship there, and I'll hold that. And the crowd chanting, this is awkward, and it was kind of weird, and The Rock was like, yeah, and he's like, whether you're a champion or not, our story is never over, and when I come back, I'm coming back for you, Cody. And then he gives something to Cody in his hand, and he says, you don't even have to open your hand to know what that is, and you better not break my heart again if you smell what the final boss is cooking. So I understood everything in the promo up until the end. What did he put in his hand, and what did he mean by break his heart again? What was that? Do you have any idea?
I think it's the fact that he went back on his word kind of thing.
Okay.
Because remember, he stepped aside and he decided to take the shot instead.
Okay.
I don't know what he put in his hand, though. That's a great question. Is it some sort of memento he gave him, possibly, and supposed to be a sign of he's coming back? TikTok.
But how would he know what it is? Why would he say you don't have to open your hand to know what that is? If you give him something and he knows what it is, what could it possibly be that he would know, without looking at it, just feeling it? What? I don't get it.
Relate to his dad in some capacity, I would think.
Is it like a gold tooth that he took from Dusty Rhodes or something? What is it? It's very strange.
Something.
I mean, eventually it'll be revealed, right? You hope? In time?
I imagine they have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
They know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll reveal it when they want to reveal it, but for now we're just going to have to be like, huh? And also forget about it because it's not really important. They'll bring it back up again afterwards.
It felt important. They closed the promo with it. I was like, what is
Yeah, they'll bring it back. It's just we don't have to worry about it right now. It's many months away.
And the Triple H coming out going, hey, Cody, you're so great. I love you. I like you even more than Randy now. Oh, Cody, what a champion. There's a video package we want to show you we made for you. Here it is. We love you, Cody. God damn, man. How do the fans not boo that? I saw TK in our chat goes, Montreal's going to boo Cody. And I think they might.
No. It's too early.
I think they might.
I don't think so. I know your son's a huge Cody fan, and he'll be cheering for him, doing his song.
He's starting to turn on Cody. He wanted Roman to win, I think.
He'll still do the woe. Everyone does the woe.
I don't know. His favorite wrestler is LA Knight right now. Yeah.
That makes sense. I get it.
Whose favorite wrestler isn't LA Knight? What everybody's saying.
Oh, I know a lot of people aren't actually fans of him, but no, I think he's okay.
I have seen that. It is surprising. Because he's great. I saw Jim Ross was like, I don't really like him, da-da-da. I'm like, what? But he's like, he's got a potential kid, and he could be there. I'm like, okay, JR, okay. Because I love JR.
Nice.
And I was like, what do you mean you don't like LA Knight? Come on, JR.
You know why?
Because he thinks he's
makes
ripping off
sense.
Stone Cold?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, JR's a Stone Cold guy. I could see that. I love Stone Cold, but JR, I'm sure, maybe Austin doesn't like LA Knight.
I don't know. Hard to say.
That'd be a fun match.
Austin doesn't like WWE right now, I guess people think.
I read, I think it was Meltzer reported that Austin was supposed to be in the Undertaker spot in the Rock, in the Cody match there to stop the Rock, but they couldn't come to a deal. Like Austin, the money wasn't right, so Austin turned it down. The money wasn't right. You lowballed Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Nah, there's more to it than that. I imagine the setup too, because Austin's always talked about that. Like, it's got to be right the way it's done, and him just showing up, and that's it. I mean, he's the biggest star ever in wrestling, and he's just going to randomly appear and then just randomly disappear. That's kind of a waste for the biggest star ever.
I guess. I mean, that makes sense. You know? Money and creative, right? One or the other.
What it always is.
Yeah.
It's always about that.
Yeah.
JR's right about that.
Of course. That's one of the JR-isms, right? It's all about money or creative. That's what it always comes down to. God. Brilliant mind for professional wrestling. If you don't respect the opinion of Jim Ross, you don't really understand professional wrestling. It's called experience. It's called knowledge, you know? Anyways. It would have been cool for Austin, though. It would have been a better spot for Austin. Just to see Austin and The Rock. I'm disappointed. They should have thrown ridiculous money at him just to get it done. Just to say, look, we know maybe you don't like the creative, whatever, but here's such stupid money that you can't say no. Come on. Pay him more than you're paying The Rock. Who cares? It's Stone Cold. If you want, do whatever you got to do to get him there.
Honestly, I thought Taker's fine in that spot. The problem was it was Mark Calloway. It wasn't The Undertaker.
Yeah. Wasn't even in gimmick. It was American Badass Taker, but barely. It was Mark Calloway. I'm Mark Calloway, and I'm gonna do a speaking tour. Thankfully, I piggybacked off the WWE.
I have to say, the craziest stuff that happened was at the Hall of Fame. Because, The Rock mentioning Vince, that kind of got a... when he did that.
Got boos, too.
Yeah. And, Muhammad Ali's wife, I think that came out wrong, the way she talked about Muhammad Ali a little bit. I don't think she meant to say, she'd known him since she was 6, but not that they had a relationship since they were 6. I don't think that is what
I didn't even catch
meant
that.
to say.
I don't even think I saw her speech.
Well, it was so late, I imagine.
I saw parts of it,
Probably
but it was very long, and I kind of skipped over it. I was I had a lot to watch. I didn't watch all of it. It's kind of all right, I'm not trying to watch her speech. I didn't understand why she was speaking. No disrespect to her, but I don't have the time. I don't have the time to watch her speech. I watched Heyman's speech, and that was good. You know? I watched when The Rock spoke, and I thought it was hilarious that The Rock just kept showing up. He showed up for that to get a belt for some reason, which was really weird. And then he showed up again for the Hall of Fame, right? What was he there for later?
Well, for Muhammad Ali showed up, and his mom too, didn't
Oh,
it?
his
Like,
mom, right? Yeah, his mom got
yeah.
inducted. So he's like, yep. Of course, he was there for that, talking for that. There's a lot of Rock at the Hall of Fame. He's there. Might as well use him. And a lot of Triple H love, right? Lots of love for the game. Yep.
You know, I get it though. You got to push this whole new regime thing, like, and having Stephanie start WrestleMania 2, like, it really helps push home that new idea that they're trying to go for. It's a new look, new people behind it in a sense, and this is the way it's going to be now. So I think it's kind of give it a better image for WWE, because I think a lot of people may have been tainted by how it was before.
Well, I think they've done a very good job of marketing it that way. The fans seem to have eaten it up and believed it. However, don't forget the words of the great Ronda Rousey. If Bruce Pritchard is there, Vince is still running the show with Bruce as his puppet.
Speaking of Ronda, did you see that thing I sent you about what she wrote in her book about, like, the titles? We talked about this many years ago, like when Ronda was there, and that she didn't want it being called like the women's title. Like, she just wanted to call it, like the WWE title, whatever.
Yep.
And she brought that up to Triple H. Triple H says, "Yeah, it makes sense." And then Vince is like, "Are you effing out of your mind?"
Wow.
So
I'm not surprised given the way he treats women.
Well, because he's just this is the way it is, this is the way it is, and that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah, because he's a bad guy. He's a very bad man. A very, very bad man. Awful. And of course, The Rock had to shout him out at the WrestleMania Hall of Fame. So that was good. Thanks, Dwayne. New regime. And hey, here's his son-in-law running the show. He knew nothing about what was going on. And he was powerless to stop it. So was his daughter. Let's all cheer for her. Let's all show love to Stephanie McMahon. I don't want to blame Vince's family for what Vince did. But to act like this is a brand new regime and a brand new WWE, it is in many ways. But it isn't in many ways. So, we'll see.
Did you notice Linda was backstage?
What? When?
Yeah.
At Mania?
At Mania, yeah. She had a photo with her whole family. Like, she was there. I'm surprised, too, because, like, when's the last time has she been at, like, a WWE show? I feel like we've never seen her.
So Linda was there? And
Linda was there, yeah.
Linda's there for the first time in at least, I'd say, a decade, if not more, that we've known that Linda was at a show, right?
I guess.
And of course, it's one of the very first big shows. It's the first biggest, it's the first Mania where Vince isn't there, right? Because Vince was not there, right?
Yeah, right.
It's not a coincidence. Like, Linda's showing up because she's like, hey, I can. So Stephanie was there. Of course, Triple H was there. Was Shane there?
Yeah, apparently Shane was there too.
Shane was there.
Yeah.
But Vince was not there, and he was not allowed to be there, really. That's something.
Well, you saw people commented, like, his trainer said, like, it's so sad, like, it's the first Mania, and without Vince, there is no Mania.
Yeah, well, his trainer's still getting paid by Vince. So he's going to stick up for his client, his longtime client, who probably pays him very well because his trainer's probably 24/7 having to be available for Vince McMahon, who's a maniac. And his trainer, I mean, probably has to keep a lot of the Vince secrets. Who knows what this guy's done with Vince? If you're sticking up for Vince at this point, you look real suspicious. Not even CM Punk stuck up for Vince. Triple H wanted to focus on the positives. Didn't want to talk about it.
Well, Punk's got another story, and we can get into that if you want.
You got to denounce things, though, sometimes. You can't just go, I don't want to talk about it. Sometimes when things are so abhorrent, you got to say, yeah, it's bad. I don't like it. I'm not sure what went down there, but it sounds very bad. You don't go, let's not talk about it. So, I just, interesting. It's interesting how they marketed this whole thing and how they've kind of worked the wrestling fans into buying into this new era in WWE, new regime. Vince is gone, so it's safe for everybody. It's fine. Meanwhile, the guy in charge is telling you to run your body into the ground and to suck it up because that's what pro wrestlers are supposed to do. You're supposed to work 4 or 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 7 days a week sometimes, going on European tours. You're supposed to, day in, day out, hurt, have multiple surgeries throughout your life, and walk away from the business in your late 40s, early 50s with long-term health issues. This is what Triple H is saying you should do as a professional wrestler, and if you don't, he doesn't respect you, and he really doesn't think that you're in it for real. He doesn't think that you're a legitimate professional wrestler. That's what he said. I mean, he didn't say, I want you to run your body into the ground, but he said, if you're not in it for the grind, if you're not in it to be there day in, day out. Meanwhile, this guy was one of the very few guys with a tour bus because he was married to the boss's daughter while everybody else was busting their ass trying to have tremendous matches while he was on top. He barely bumped, barely did a goddamn thing in the ring, was responsible for the whole company toning down their style so that they wouldn't make him look bad as the world champion. He sees his kids. He sees his wife. He sees his pervert father-in-law on a daily basis. And he's trying to tell the young wrestlers of today, you're not in it for the long haul. I don't respect you if you're not in it for the grind. And people have the balls to say Will Ospreay shouldn't have responded on Dynamite this week. Will Ospreay said nothing compared to what I just said. And everything I just said was the goddamn truth. Like the great CM Punk has said, stop me when I'm telling lies. You gonna tell Will Ospreay he's not in it for the grind? Have you seen him work? Because I saw you work, buddy. You sucked, pal. You couldn't cut the mustard. The only reason you were world champion is because Vince made it that way. Fucking revisionist history gonna say Triple H is one of the greatest of all time. Bullshit. He's not top 20. He's not top 50. His run on top was horrendous. The McMahon-Helmsley era was trash. The DX revival that Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa paid tribute to at WrestleMania was the drizzling shits. So don't go and tell me that Triple H is this great guy and we love him and You're kissing the boss's ass. Shut the fuck up. I'm here to tell you the goddamn truth about what's really going on in professional wrestling because we've been there for forever. Then, now, forever, talking shit about Triple H. Because he doesn't really have a leg to stand on when he's talking about this shit. He was way out of pocket talking about Will Ospreay. And I am very happy that Will Ospreay responded, bruv. Go for it, bruv. Will Ospreay said the only reason you were champion talking about grinding, the only grinding you did to get to the top was on the boss's daughter. Tremendous. Renee standing next to him looking super uncomfortable. You know, she knows Paul. I'm sure she's got a lovely relationship with Paul. I'm sure at some point her and John will go back and work for Paul. But not Will Ospreay, not after this past Wednesday. Although you never know. WWE does business, right? I'm sure he would bring him in. Triple H brought Cody in and made him his top star, and he broke a throne, you know? So you never know. But when Triple H said that, I talked about it a bit last week, but I'm like, it still pissed me off. And what really pisses me off is people defending him and people going after Will Ospreay for responding. I think he was completely in his right to respond, and especially after what I read about, I think Meltzer said, again, how one of the main reasons why Ospreay decided to not take the WWE schedule was because it was very important for him to still live in the UK because his girlfriend has a child who they don't want to displace, who's already been through the trauma because I believe the father took his own life. So, now, you know, there's some difficulty there, and Ospreay is trying to be a good guy and stepping in and trying to be there for his family. And the only way to do that is to work for AEW and travel back and forth from the UK to the US on a weekly basis. Like he said, Triple H thinks that's not a grind. Really out of line. For that guy to stand on top and then for the whole business to kiss his ass after he said that. And to continue and still be kissing his ass. It's despicable. So, I'm a bigger fan of Will Ospreay's, if that's possible, after what he did on Wednesday night. Because I've been a massive fan of this guy's. Because Triple H couldn't lace his boots. He is probably the best in-ring worker today. He's better than Shawn Michaels was. Triple H was nowhere in Will Ospreay's league. So he should shut up and enjoy the show that Will Ospreay is about to take us on. And he is going to eat his words as the months go on and Will Ospreay continues to dazzle professional wrestling. He's going to wrestle Bryan Danielson on the 21st. Get ready. Fucking. Really offensive, John. Really offensive. Triple H. I want to like him. I really do. I like the changes he's made. I think he's probably running the show well. He's clearly running it better than Vince McMahon was. But I don't think that's saying much, quite frankly. Quite frankly. If I still ran the show, it'd be so hot. Oh, God. Sorry.
See, I was a little surprised, like, when I tweeted about it, because someone asked me about it. Like, you wrote back to me all mad, and it's like I'm not really, like, defending Triple H or anything right now, but, like, you seemed mad at me because I tweeted about it.
I did?
Well, you quote tweeted and said, like, oh, Triple H was out of line, he shouldn't have said that, and it's like, okay, like, I didn't say anything like that. I'm just saying, like, Triple H, because someone wrote to me on Twitter saying, like, or X, that, oh, how could Ospreay do this? And I'm like, well, Triple H took a shot, Ospreay took a shot back, and then you wrote back to me, quote tweeted me, and saying, like, oh, Triple H is out of line, how could he do that? And it's like, well, what the, can I win on this one? I guess not. Like, I'm just saying, like, they both took shots at each other. Like, I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
You know, Triple H is going to have his view on this, fine. I don't agree with that view, but that's his view of that. He wants people that are loyal to him. That's the way I kind of took that, is that he wants people that put WWE first. And it's kind of always been like that with WWE. They've always had this, WWE's first. They're the first family you should worry about. Whether you agree or not agree with that, fine. And, you know, Ospreay took offense because definitely it felt like it was completely on him. And he's going to fire back. I have no problem with this because we've lived with this for years in wrestling where people fire back at each other. On television, too. This is not out of the ordinary.
Right. But Triple H is like the boss of WWE saying, well, Ospreay doesn't want to grind, when Triple H had a lot handed to him, and Ospreay has been grinding for years. He's been working in New Japan. What do you think that style is? And Triple H's style, like, god damn, man. I sat through way too many Triple H matches, and I've seen way too many Will Ospreay matches to know, like, this guy should really shut up when he's talking about Will Ospreay.
Well, it's not just the style of wrestling. It's the fact that he went not only to Japan, he wrestled in the UK. He wrestled all over the world now, Ospreay.
Yeah.
And Triple H, granted, he wrestled a lot, but it was mainly for WWE for the good chunk of his career. And like they handled him very well. Like Ospreay had to do a lot of that himself. Like it helps nowadays with AEW, he can do the back and forth. They're going to help him out, but he didn't have that help before. A lot of that was him.
Yep. Independent, working on his own, making his way. Here's a tweet you're talking about, John. I wasn't angry at you. I was actually agreeing with you and doubling down. Oh,
okay.
I don't
What
have
happened?
it.
No, we're just black screen here.
I don't know. I thought I had it. I don't know. I guess
well.
it didn't work. I thought I was connected. Maybe we're having an issue with
Connections?
our production. I think we're going to get it fixed, maybe? I have the thing
As long as
open.
you're good for tomorrow.
Should work. I don't know.
Tomorrow's when you need it.
I think we're going to get it fixed. But I was actually agreeing with you, John. I was just doubling down and disagreeing with somebody who said that it was stupid for Ospreay to say this and it made Triple H sound smart and correct. And then you said Triple H took a shot at him, Ospreay shot back. I don't see a problem with this. And I doubled down. I just retweeted you and agreed with you, saying Ospreay's response was warranted. Triple H was out of line. Because I think Triple H was out of line. That's why I'm mad. Because for him to say, oh, he doesn't want to grind, it's like, what are you talking about? He's been grinding. You're just mad because he didn't want to sign with your company. He signed with AEW instead because the schedule worked better for him. And maybe you didn't offer enough money. Ever think of that? You offer enough money, I mean, you're going to convince a lot of people to do a lot of stuff. But if you lowball one of the best wrestlers in the world in the future of pro wrestling, I mean, that's what you get. I mean, if you look at the next few years in pro wrestling, what looks brighter? AEW has Will Ospreay, possibly MJF, Kazuchika Okada. They got some big stars going forward. WWE's got some stuff, but in the ring, where the best wrestle, I believe, is AEW.
I think, again, they have good matches, and Dynasty is very compelling without question. I think the stories need some work, but there's definitely room for improvement, and there's definitely a lot of great talent. You can't deny it. I feel WWE. I mean, WWE is just coming off WrestleMania, and one of the best WrestleManias ever in terms of the revenue, without question. I don't know if it was the best in terms of quality, but I think we're getting the tweet now, right? Here we go.
Yeah, there we go. Nope.
Yeah, there's my thing.
See, why are you making them sound right? Triple H is talking about working for AEW. You guys only work Wednesday and Saturday. WWE's 24/7 machine. You say this, and then I quote tweeted. I think I can get it for you. How do I do this? There.
This is your Twitter or your X, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I was just agreeing with you, John.
Yeah, well, I didn't think Triple H was out of line. Triple H is entitled to say what he wants like that. I mean, he is the boss, and he has this feeling that he wants people first. And I don't know so much about lowballing. I think it's the fact that Ospreay wanted to go back to the UK, and I think Triple H didn't want that to happen because he probably wanted him on the weekends when he would go or something, or extra days to do, live events, and he wouldn't be available for that. So I think that was an issue.
Yeah. Look, it's a choice that not only Will Ospreay is making, it's a choice that Okada made recently. It's a choice that Swerve Strickland, I guess he was fired by WWE, so he went over. But some guys have made the choice, right? They've left WWE. Bryan Danielson could have stayed. He left. Jon Moxley left. Triple H, when he's saying, like, oh, prime of your career or whatever, I mean, he's also saying that about Moxley, in a way.
Interesting. Maybe.
I mean, I guess, he was saying kind of coming up, making your way if you don't want to grind. Maybe he's not saying that about Moxley because he's not really coming up, making his way. But, I mean, Moxley chose to go to AEW. What's he saying about him? I think Moxley's working hard. Moxley's wrestling all the time.
It's funny, you said, I believe on the Night 2 post show, that they should have had Moxley for that Shield entrance.
I didn't say they should have. I just, when I heard the music, I was like, well, just Seth? Because Seth has other music. It'd be weird if just Seth came out, because that's all they have from the Shield, but that's all they had. I was like, wow, Moxley? I mean, there's no way they're going to have Moxley. I mean, I thought for a second, like, could they have done some sort of weird deal? But I didn't actually believe that he was going to show up, and of course he didn't. That would have been nuts.
Well, Tony Khan did say that, I think one of his press conference things, they did a media scrums for the Ring of Honor, or maybe it was just this past week he did an interview, that they didn't ask at all WWE for that. But you saw Dustin Rhodes was there for WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. He was, for Cody, backstage?
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it. Big moment for his brother. Why not? It's a big moment.
It's not impossible. I mean, they could have done it if WWE wanted to. WWE didn't ask for Moxley.
Yeah. I have said it before. I think that there is a world where WWE and AEW can work together. I think there is a world where all wrestling promotions can work together. I think AEW kind of showed a way where two big wrestling promotions can kind of work together, be a separate, but also, come together for certain shows and do good business. And I think their relationship with New Japan has shown that, there's a way to do it. And I think there's a way for WWE and AEW to work together even. I think that, as the world kind of expands and grows and entertainment options grow and grow and grow, to have multiple pro wrestling companies fighting against each other for the pro wrestling viewership is difficult and maybe not even sustainable in the distant future. So you might see these wrestling companies joining together to just get people to watch pro wrestling. It's not a crazy idea, because pro wrestling isn't, like, WWE says it all the time. We don't see AEW as competition. We see everything as competition. Movies are competition. Sports are competition. Going to the beach is competition. We're just trying to get you to watch our thing instead of doing whatever else you're going to do. So, if the goal is to get people into wrestling, if the goal is to get people to watch professional wrestling, why fight against each other? Why try to split the wrestling dollar? Why not try to get it together and make more money? Do bigger shows. I don't know. If this is not a thing that's going to happen this year, but in 10, 15, 20 years, who knows where the business will go and how the market will dictate things, right? I mean, crazy things happen, John.
I mean, there's a Forbidden Door, so it's always possible, right? But I expect Forbidden Door 3, we're more likely going to see more AEW New Japan and probably AEW Stardom, because it feels like Stardom's invading AEW now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, AEW is showing that they could work with New Japan, they could work with Stardom, they could work with Impact Wrestling, TNA, They've got Ring of Honor under their thing, but, they're working with multiple wrestling promotions. They did stuff with DDT. They've done stuff with CMLL. They've really opened up the bubble. And the only company right now that's not in on that bubble is WWE. And there may come a time where they say, we want in.
We can also talk about New Japan. They worked with New Japan tonight, and they drew over 6,000 in Chicago. That's huge.
Yep. It's pretty good. It's not WWE numbers, but it's pretty good for that.
Well, if you look at past New Japan numbers, it was 2,000 something was their max. So that's a huge growth for them to get that. And obviously, I think they got that, as much as people might hate them. But I think Jack Perry helped draw that house.
Yeah, I think Jack Perry is a very hot name in wrestling right now, especially after what happened with the Bucks this past week, which we'll get into here in a minute. Shout out to Harold Schneider dropping a super chat. Harold is the super chat leader of the night. Angelo Contagona says, I told you, shots fired. That Will Ospreay Triple H thing, it was a big deal. Shots fired indeed, Angelo. Angelo in the chat, Ray Cruz in the chat, Jason Pete in the chat all the way in Mexico. Thank you to all the members tuning in here tonight. Angelo, Ray, Harold Schneider, Antoinette in Toronto getting ready for Money in the Bank. Good to see Antoinette in the chat. One of our longtime members. I haven't met Lior, of course. Lior. I've never met Lior. I'd love to meet Lior. I'd love to meet all the members. I don't think I've ever met Ray Cruz either, but I've met Antoinette. I've met Angelo in real life. Both fantastic people. Both great people.
Raw.
Who's going to be at Raw? Ray Cruz?
I think, didn't Ryan Katz say that he was going to go to Raw?
No, I don't know. Come see me. I'll be at Raw. Come say hi. I'll be there in the Bell Center on Monday night. I'm looking forward to it. You want to take a look at the tickets that are on sale right now, John? There's a lot of them. You could get in for $32.
Yeah, well, you'll be sitting up in the nosebleeds. You won't see anything.
That's right, brother. You will be sitting up in the 425 section, which is way, way, way up there. Way up there.
Now, some of this is resale, though. So this isn't all empty here where it's blue.
I don't know if this is resale.
Well, not so much those levels. See, that's that color.
No, that's resale. Oh, yeah. Interesting.
That's resale, yeah. Blue. is regular.
Okay.
I'm a nice guy, thank you.
You're a great guy. So let's see. Tickets on the floor near the ring. How much are these? Third row. 266. That's actually not bad. Those are decent seats.
No, it's pretty good, yeah.
That's not bad. 266. Right now, you could buy a ticket and sit third row. It's kind of an awkward row, but it's not bad. You're kind of...
If there's brawling, it could be fun.
Yeah. But these are the ones you want over here. And those are all sold out, of course. These over here and these over here. I've sat first row, like over here, and it's kind of awkward because the ring is not... Like, you're kind of turning your head sideways to watch the show when you sit in these sections here or these sections here. They're not great, honestly.
Well,
you're on the floor.
Where
like, I sat on the floor, first row, but it was, like, over here. So the ring is, like, kind of diagonal. It was no good.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. The tickets were free, but I wasn't happy about it. I wasn't happy. I'm going to be sitting around here.
Wow.
I'm going to be sitting around this section, John. That's where I'm sitting.
Oh, you're in the hard cam. Wow.
Hard cam. I think pretty low down. I forget exactly where, but I could tell you.
Any signs? You didn't get any signs made? No?
You think I'm going to make a sign?
Because they do the whole thing now where they show the best signs of the night.
Watch out for Diddy. I saw that one.
I saw that one. Yeah.
Do you see that? She read "Watch out for." Did you send me that? Somebody sent me that.
I sent you that. Yeah, I sent you that.
Yeah. Watch out for Diddy. That was good.
Yeah. That was so. There you go. Be creative. You know, I'm sure you can figure something out. Maybe something that your son will not be offended by. But yeah, something.
He wouldn't understand that reference, I don't think.
Okay.
He doesn't know who Diddy is.
Well, good
but
to
yeah,
know.
tickets still on sale for this gimmick here. Where am I sitting?
I don't think it's going to sell out, man.
Row H. I got row H. H. Do
you think it's going to sell out?
FGH. I'm around here. I'll be around here. All right? Come and see me. Holla, holla, playa. I'm in section 1. What is this? What is this? 113, row H.
Ah, 13, okay.
That's where I'll be Monday night. Holla, holla, playa. Me and my brother and my son. We're going to Raw Monday night. I'm excited. I like wrestling.
Your dad's not coming. That's too bad.
He's not a huge wrestling fan.
No, but, you know, it's a cool event, you know, for the family and all that stuff. Like, it's just cool to hang out with the family.
Yeah, well, I mean, do I have to bring every member of my family to every event that I go to? I mean, tickets are expensive here, John. Take it easy. You know.
No, but at some point, wouldn't that be awesome, though? Like, once your daughter's old enough, you know, like,
yes,
your whole family comes? That'd be amazing.
Yes. Yes, I do look forward to bringing both my kids to the wrestling shows. That'll be fun. But my daughter, who just turned 2 years old, happy birthday,
Congrats.
Zozo. She's 2. She's incredible. She's just, man, every day with her is an adventure. She's amazing. And I think she's going to be into wrestling. She actually is already into wrestling. John, you'll be very sad to know that I'm pretty sure her favorite wrestler is John Cena. I'm not even sure why.
It's okay. She likes people that aren't very good. It's all right. She'll learn maybe, hopefully, one day.
Yeah, well, she loves me, and I'm not very good. So there you go. I guess you're right, John. I'm all right.
Don't sell yourself short there. Come on.
You
can sell Cena short, but not you.
I
mean, he was, I think we can be honest here, he was horrible on Raw. There's no question about that.
Hey, at least he wrestled on Raw. That was kind of cool that John Cena, Miz, and R-Truth beat Finn Balor, JD McDonuts, and Dirty Dominic on Raw. I mean, you know, it's a Raw after Mania. They gave us a little something. Cena was there and wrestled, kind of. He didn't look great, but, you know, that's what you get these days.
I really think at this point he might as well just shave his head. Like, that bald spot is, like, really horrendous at this point.
Yeah, but the thing is, in the movies, they can shoot around it. In wrestling, it's just obvious. You can't shoot around it when he's moving around so fast, but in the movies, they can. I think that's why he's keeping the hair.
It looks worse because when your hair gets sweaty too, like it really opens up even more. Like,
Yeah, he's very bald.
yeah, he's getting there really bad. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very bald, and he's not accepting it, and it's really odd. He looks odd now. Like, before it was like, oh, he's balding a little bit, and now it's like, oh, no, he's bald, and he's just got this weird comb-over thing going. It's really weird. He should just go Hogan style. Just get the Hogan look.
The do-rag?
No, but like the skullet.
Oh, okay, like that. Well, that's a different kind of look, though. I don't think for the movies that would fly so well.
It worked for Hogan, brother. You
But
imagine
that
that guy? That guy was on top for years, looking like that with a skullet.
Because that was his thing. That was him. But Cena
Yeah.
obviously has his own thing, right? So that's it. It's just like, oh, you're taking the Hogan look, so it wouldn't work.
No, Cena would. Yeah, well, that's it. Cena's look is with hair,
Yeah.
and that's how you know him. It's too bad The Rock was able to make that transition. You know, he went from hair to no hair, and now you're just used to him with no hair. I think Cena could do it. Triple H did it.
You know why that works, though, for The Rock? Because he was able to distract from the fact that he lost the hair, but look at his body.
Super chat.
You don't think Cena can do that? Have you seen Cena?
I feel like Cena's like shrinking. Like he looked very small, I thought.
Yeah, but he's like, a cycle away from looking jacked as hell, man.
Section of a man that used to be.
No, I just saw Angelo dropping a super chat who said Ray Cruz is in section 113A for Raw Monday night. Oh, yeah? I didn't see that, Ray. Oh, there it is. I got to take it. 113A. We're in the same section, Ray. So you're like a few rows ahead of me. Perfect. So come say hi, Ray. We're in the same section. That's awesome. I'll see Ray Cruz. I'll meet Ray Cruz on Monday night. We'll get a picture. We'll post it on the Ringside Report thing. That's how we do's it, baby. That's how we do's it.
You'll have your Diddy sign and everything. Cool.
I should have a sign that says, that's how we do's it, with a picture of Leon Black. You don't watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, eh? The series finale happened on Sunday, too. It's really good.
It's been a while since I watched it. Because that was the problem with Curb. Like, it kind of was on, then it stopped, and it was on again.
Mm-hmm.
That was the problem. You really had to stay faithful with it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's crazy. It's, I think, 12, 13 seasons. Many seasons. I think it was 13 seasons. It might have been 12. I'm going to check for you now because I don't want to speak without facts.
It was definitely longer than Seinfeld, that's for sure. Seinfeld did not last this long.
12 seasons. 12 seasons.
That was my favorite Curb, by the way.
What was? The Seinfeld season?
The Seinfeld episode.
The reunion there? Where they did the Seinfeld? Yeah. Well, the whole season was really good. That was great. But I just, I love Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I think maybe some of the episodes this season early on weren't that great, but it really finished off strong. And it's crazy. It's like Angelo's saying, 12 seasons over 24 years, which is nuts. Like, I've grown up with Curb Your Enthusiasm. I was a young teen when I started watching Curb Your Enthusiasm in the year 2000. And I was like 14 years old, 13, 14 years old,
So I probably saw it in 2002 first time, I think.
That's it. I mean, I was watching it since the beginning, and like I was a child watching Curb Your Enthusiasm, and now like I'm a grown adult man, nearly 40 with 2 kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, and still watching Larry and Richard Lewis and Jeff and Susie doing their thing, Ted Danson and Cheryl. Like, it was great. It was a great final season. They really finished off strong. The last episode was fantastic. I loved seeing Jerry and Larry together at the end. It was great. It was great. It was a great show. It was a great run. Larry is a genius. Jerry is a genius. For Larry David to have created, co-created Seinfeld and created Curb Your Enthusiasm, it speaks for itself. You can't really beat that. Genius level creative mind. And he didn't have to shit on anybody in a threesome to get there. So, hats off to you, LD.
There's definitely a lot of crapping on a lot of people in that show. No question.
Yeah, but verbally, not literally, John.
not literally, yes. True.
Great show. Rest in peace to Super Dave. Rest in peace, Richard Lewis.
That's definitely one of those series you'd want to get the whole box set for, I think.
Yeah. Well, I got the Crave TV, so I've got it all.
Yeah, but as we've seen with the whole WWE Network, streaming services come and go. That's why you got to get the series sets sometimes.
Correct. I am quite happy that I never got rid of my WWE DVDs or VHS collection, because I still have tons of archival footage that, will never be seen again, including Hard Knocks, the Chris Benoit story, which, obviously.
Yes.
I also have the Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior on DVD, which I'm sure they don't want seen these days.
Well, they'll show it as long as it's with the newer doc. As long as it's with the newer one, it's fine.
I don't think they'd show the old one. I don't think you could find the old one on an official WWE source anymore. The Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior, where they just buried him? I don't know. Maybe.
I'd have to search the network. Maybe they have, maybe they don't. I haven't searched it in a while.
But yeah, I've got a lot of that old stuff. And I thought about getting rid of my DVDs at one point because, why? But then I thought, maybe the network, I want to have it for historical purposes. And now I'm glad I do because I have a big collection. So, good to have. Because you are correct. In this digital age, sometimes they just disappear things. And they're gone. They're gone, John, just like that. Just like CM Punk from AEW. Gone! They showed the footage. They hyped it. They promoted it. The Young Bucks were going to show the footage of CM Punk. And they did this whole promo about how, we were going to beat FTR, but we were distracted by CM Punk doing all this stuff. And it's his fault that we lost Punk to FTR. It was a big show, and it's Punk's fault, and it distracted us, and that's why we lost.
Never said his name.
Never said his name, but they said, because of this incident, this is why, da-da-da, right?
Right.
And then they show it.
Well, they also put him down a little more, saying that this guy thought he was bigger than the company, thought he could do whatever he wanted. They kind of took some shots there.
Yeah. They took a couple shots, and then they showed it.
Wasn't much of anything, to be honest. When I saw it, I was like, that's it?
When they announced they were going to show it, did you not think that they were going to show something that disproved what Punk said happened?
No, honestly, I thought it's for storyline purposes. And that they kind of made it into a story.
I thought they were going to show something that proved that there was a part of Punk's story that was a lie. To me, they only solidified Punk as a truth teller about this incident. And not only, if he's telling the truth about this incident, maybe he's telling the truth about all of AEW. They're not really trying to sell tickets. They don't really care. Tony Khan is just a pet project, and he's not interested in this. And, all the other things that, he wasn't contacted a minute, nothing, no word at all while he's injured for 6 months as your top star. No one checks on him. All these things he said about AEW now feel more true after AEW showed the footage. He's got to be laughing. He posted the mission accomplished graphic on his Instagram, which was hilarious if you're not in your if you're over 30, I'd say. If you're under 30, you might not get it
or know your political history.
Yeah,
well.
But it was George W. Bush. They had a banner that said "Mission Accomplished," like maybe 6 months into the Iraq War, and it was like, what? And then it dragged on for over a decade. So that was weird that he did that. It's kind of like, hey, we did it, mission accomplished. And then Punk posted that graphic, and it was kind of like, hey, you're talking about AEW there, making them look doubly stupid. I thought it was really stupid. I thought it came off really badly for them. Really badly. Everything Punk said happened. He talked to Perry for a while. You didn't hear any audio, but eventually Punk just kind of like, all right, and he pushes him, and Perry kind of looks to shoot, a single or double leg on him, and Punk just kind of grabs him in a front face lock. And he said he choked him a bit, but who knows? It's just like a front face lock, put him in a little guillotine ski. And then Samoa Joe immediately intervened and grabbed Jungle Boy and held him where Jungle Boy could not move. I thought that was the funniest part of the whole thing, where Jungle Boy's just being held by Joe, and the Jungle Boy's not going anywhere. Joe's so massive and strong. And then Punk is being kind of held back by Chris Hero and I think Jerry Lynn maybe. And Punk is kind of like, is pointing and lunging at Tony Khan, yelling at him. If Tony Khan feared for his life there, he is a bitch, because that's not, come on, man. He didn't attack him. He didn't touch him. He came near him and was yelling, if you're scared for your life, you are a really coddled, sheltered son of a billionaire bitch, which maybe you are. But that's no reason to fear for your life. If that's the incident that he's talking about where he feared for his life, he looks like a bigger idiot now. Everybody talks about feared for his life. What a joke that is. I've seen CM Punk fight in the UFC. He's not making me scared for my life. Let's be honest here. If Tony Khan is scared for his life because CM Punk is yelling at him because he's heated, because Jungle Boy's being an idiot and disrespecting him on television, and Tony Khan isn't intervening and he's letting his goddamn locker room run amok, well, maybe Tony Khan isn't built for the wrestling business. I'm starting to think he's not. After this past Wednesday, I'm starting to think he's not. He's assembled a great roster. But as far as managing the talent, no. As far as booking decisions, questionable. Very questionable. Good money, man. Knows talent. However, there's some big holes in the game. Is AEW for sale? Can somebody buy AEW? Can somebody buy AEW for Paul Heyman and let him run it? I think they'd be better off. Tony Khan's money, Paul Heyman's brain. AEW. Go. But right now, I don't know. That was a really weird decision to play that footage. Really weird. Made CM Punk look like a hero. Made Jungle Boy look like an idiot. Made Tony Khan look inept. And honestly, you got to question his decision-making at this point. Because showing that footage did him no favors. I don't know who in professional wrestling saw that and thought, ooh, good move, AEW. And then FTR coming out, we want to move past this because we love wrestling so much. feeding our families, and we're the best tag team, and the Young Bucks can't handle it. Okay. Yikes. I really like AEW. I really want AEW to thrive. I want them to sell out every building they go to. And I hate when I tune into Dynamite every week, and I do tune into Dynamite every week, and I have since the beginning, and I will until it dies. If it dies. I hope it never dies. But I hate tuning in every week and not seeing the whole building, not seeing the wide shot, seeing the half crowd shots purposefully done, hearing the crowd noise that's just barely a whisper. I hate it. I want them to sell tickets. I want them to do better. I want them to get their shit together. But when they make moves like this, I start to think, well, fuck, maybe they don't have the ability to get their shit together because they're making dumbass decisions like playing the Punk footage and promoting it and acting like this was going to be some big victory for them. I wish they could sell out buildings. Somebody needs to tell them it doesn't matter if you sell 100,000 seats one night a year in London. If you're selling, a couple thousand every other week, you're running TV. In buildings that could seat 18,000. Those shows in Montreal were a disgrace. The show in Quebec City was a disgrace. They have disgrace after disgrace each and every week. You're having legends of the business have their final matches in front of nobody. Something's got to change. It's getting ugly in AEW land. The roster of talent is too great for it to run like this. But TNA Wrestling had a great roster of talent at one time too, and you know how that went. And that's how it's feeling, man. It's like, Tony Khan is like Dixie Carter. He's a money mark who happens to not want to fuck the boys. Are we still on?
I think we are. I don't think YouTube got mad about that.
I didn't mean to say that one. I'm not saying that she did. I'm just saying that there were a lot of rumors. Oh, my God. Who's that Jersey Shore guy they had? Anyways, I'm baffled by the decision to run the footage, and I just wish AEW was making better decisions and doing better. Their pay-per-view next week looks fantastic. They know how to book these pay-per-views. They know how to book cool matches. They don't always know how to build them up. Tony Khan's a good fantasy booker. He's good at, assembling a roster and going, these matches would be sick to have, and then just putting them on paper and having them. He's good at that. He gets talent. He understands what matches people want to see. He's just not really good at making people want to see them, which is a real problem when you're a booker. You know what I mean? The matches are amazing, but if no one's that interested in watching them, if there's no real reason, if there's no real heat, you're not going to draw people into the building.
It's amazing because, I like Punk, and I feel like he had to stand up for himself. But when you say he was, completely, that's exactly what happened, it's not exactly what happened, what he said. And I can understand that he didn't have it 100% accurate because he lived it. He didn't watch it over in his head or whatever, or watch the video, or relive it. So in his mind, it's probably what happened, but again, not exactly what happened. He went up to Jungle Boy and he got in his face. And then he says the line about, Chael, like, I can't let you get too close. How could Jungle Boy get any closer? Because, like, he's in his face. And that's Punk's fault. So, like, I like Punk, and I thought that was a cool line, but after that, I'm like, that wasn't so cool anymore, because you were the aggressor in that situation.
But Jungle Boy said that what he said, Cry Me a River, Real Glass, on the TV, right?
Yeah,
Punk,
he started it. And
Punk knows
yes.
this, and Punk has to go up to him and go, hey, what was that? I mean, they're crossing each other. Punk's going ready. Punk's match is next.
Yeah.
Jungle Boy's coming back just from his match. They're back-to-back matches. They cross each other, and Punk goes, hey, I saw you say that about me. What's the... And then Jungle Boy's like, well, what's your problem? You know?
Right.
I understand CM Punk going up to him and saying, what's the deal?
Of course. I get that, yeah. No issue on that whatsoever. If anything, that should have never happened, because someone should have realized there's going to be a problem here. We can't let these two get close because there's going to be a problem. But again, Punk not completely accurate, and I can't let you get too close.
So
because he initiated that.
I'm going to give you a conspiracy theory, John, on what happened and who really initiated that, because I've watched this tape like the Zapruder film, okay? Deep analysis, okay? Tell you exactly when Punk assassinated Jungle Boy Jack Perry. He grabbed him back and then to the left. No. What happened was, as Punk is walking into the scene, he is accompanied by a bald man. And I am quite certain that that bald man is none other than Dax Harwood, a.k.a. FTR Bald. And it is my theory that FTR Bald was like, hey, Punk, you're going to let him, I'd kick his ass if he said that about me. I think FTR Bald stir in the pot.
That's what the Bucks said.
I don't think they're wrong. If you watch the footage, you see. Here's why I think FTR Bald put him up to it, and FTR Bald should have intervened, and FTR Bald knew what was going to go down, because he walks into the frame with Punk. Punk goes to Perry. FTR Bald walks over to the side. He walks in with Punk, and then he's like, it's going down. And he's like, yep. And then Perry, he sees it. Like, he is with Punk, and Punk starts walking, and then he doesn't follow because he's like, I know what's about to happen because we just have been talking. Like, if Punk has seen this, right. You don't think he's talking to FTR Bald about it? You don't think FTR Bald is saying, fuck that guy. I love my kids and wrestling. This guy's trying to take it away from us. I love tequila. FTR. Southern wrestling, brother. Get him. You know what Harley Race would do, don't you, Punk? You know he's saying shit like that. That's how he talks. I like him. I think he's hilarious. I think he's a great character in wrestling. He's a good old-fashioned wrestler. And I think he is... I think FTR are probably the best tag team in wrestling today. So, yeah, they're great. Yeah. However, I think he was the instigator. I think he pushed Punk, and I think maybe, because I heard that guy talk on his podcast, and he's like, well, got a problem with that, slap the shit out of you, and we'll fight for real in the ring, and da-da-da. Like, he was a lot about, like, that talking tough, Harley Race, what would Harley Race do, that type of shit, right? He was. Right. You heard his podcast, right? Yeah, and him and Punk are hanging out all the time. Like, don't you think I think, honestly, Punk was influenced negatively by FTR Bald drinking. I mean, Punk wasn't drinking, but they were drinking, talking shit, telling him to do things, and he got caught up in it and wanted to be the big tough guy, and, that's why he got into all the fights. He's getting into fights with the Young Bucks. Who's FTR Bald's, who's FTR's main rivals? You know what I mean? Jungle Back Jack Perry, Jungle Boys. You know, I like, if you see the footage again, go back and watch it. Him and Punk walking in together, and then Punk goes off, and he just little turn, but he's like standing on the side watching, not intervening, not doing anything. knowing what's going to go
He
down,
didn't have
letting
to.
it go down, doesn't jump in. Come on, man.
All right, well, that's something to look after. I'll check that out again. But since you've watched
him.
it so many times, obviously, we'll talk about he didn't throw a punch. You're telling me after that choke he didn't throw a punch? Because that definitely looked like he threw a punch.
Maybe when Jungle Boy's getting pulled away, Punk throws a punch. Yeah,
Yes.
Possibly. Yeah. So it could have been a grab. Punk, I mean, it's an arm motion. It's not clear.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe he threw a punch. So what? He said he didn't.
Again, he said he didn't. And again, it's what he remembered it.
Yeah. Things happen in a scuffle.
He the moment and all that. I get it. I understand. But I also understand how Bryan Danielson didn't know the whole situation and just saw this video and made his judgment off just seeing the video.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand that point of view. And I understand Tony Khan, not used to being in a situation where things get violent, and he had to live that situation right in front of his face.
Mm-hmm.
I could understand, he was actually scared. And I think, it looks better for television. It looks better for, legal reasons that he said what he said. Feared for his life.
Yeah, maybe that was a legal reason to, make sure that Punk couldn't sue him for wrongful termination or whatever. I don't know. But Bryan Danielson, I think making the assessment makes sense because, Punk is initiating the physical contact with Jungle Boy. It's not the first time he's got into physical altercations backstage. And he's also yelling at the boss and according to Punk himself, saying, you're a clown. This place is a joke. Fire me. I don't want to be here anymore. Fire me. Punk is fighting people and then yelling at the boss, telling him to fire him and has to be physically restrained and pulled away from the boss. I mean, he wants to be fired. So anybody mad at Bryan Danielson for saying, yeah, we should probably fire him, it's crazy. Punk, if you yell at the boss and say, this is a joke, you're a clown, fire me, I don't want to work here anymore. I mean, that alone, without fighting Jungle Boy. Anybody at any job, if you say that to your boss, you will probably be fired. You might not be, but if you fight a coworker and then and it's not the first time you fought a coworker at work, and then you call your boss a fucking clown and the whole place that you work at is a joke, and you fire me, I want out, I don't want to be here, this place is stupid. I would say 95% of companies would fire you. 95% of jobs, you pull that shit at work, they're going to fire you. They're going to find a way. They might even say, you're asking for it. Because you literally are. So anybody mad that they fired CM Punk should be mad at CM Punk for asking to be fired. He requested his release from the company, and AEW, despite the fact that it hurt its business, granted his request for a release. His very rude request. Nevertheless, it was a request for release that they granted, which most wrestling fans applaud. When the WWE doesn't want to grant somebody their release, they're like, oh, they're such assholes holding them hostage. FTR wanted to get released. WWE's like, yeah, we want to hang on to you. Oh, they're holding them hostage. AEW is like, okay, Punk, you want to go? Oh, how could they fire Punk? It's a Young Bucks' fault. Young Bucks never said fire me. Kenny Omega never said fire me. Jungle Boy never asked to be fired. CM Punk told you he asked to be fired after attacking one of his coworkers. You cannot be mad that CM Punk got fired. It's what he wanted. He seems happy about it. He's doing well.
it sucks that this happened, but yeah, in the end, I think things actually worked out for everybody. And I think in the end, it's better AEW aired this because they're using this to their advantage. It got people talking. To me, surprisingly, because I'm like, this isn't a big deal. But for a lot of people, it was a big deal. So they got a buzz about it. And this helps explain the story of why Jack Perry is the scapegoat. Because that hasn't been really explained. And it's hard to explain it without airing this, I think.
Right. This is to explain the Jack Perry character that's going to join up with the Young Bucks probably soon, maybe at Dynasty.
Probably.
Yeah. Dynasty, by the way, which we will be previewing next week. Yeah, next Friday. Are you on the show next Friday? I know you have a match in Ontario on the weekend.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I won't be here next week, sadly.
Oh, what? Way to break it to me.
Bringing it to you now, yeah, and everybody.
Okay. Well, we'll see what we do for the show next Friday. We'll definitely be on, but I may have somebody else filling in, or maybe Dave Solo next Friday night. We'll see. We'll definitely be previewing special. AEW's Dynasty. What are you saying? The brother special?
Or an AJ special.
AJ's not much of a wrestling guy. He pretends to be, but he's not.
It's fun to get his opinion on stuff he doesn't know about. It's good.
Yeah, but I don't think it's any mystery why I get my brother to fill in on the wrestling shows and not AJ.
Well, no, he knows what he's talking about with wrestling. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and it's far less frustrating than talking to AJ about wrestling. It's like, what are you talking about? It's not real, AJ. It's a work. What's a work, bro? I know they're working. It's a job, but like, what do you know? Yes. Portier Concierge says, great show tonight, guys. Thanks, guys. The show's not over. Next week, AEW Dynasty. Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson. The Young Bucks versus FTR for the AEW World Tag Team Championships that are currently vacant. The finals of the tournament. Julia Hart takes on Willow Nightingale for the TBS title in a House Rules match. Edge, Eddie Kingston, and Mark Briscoe take on the House of Black. Toni Storm defending her title against Thunder Rosa. Kazuchika Okada defending his AEW Continental title against Pac. And Samoa Joe defending the AEW World Championship against Swerve Strickland. Yikes. Ospreay Danielson, Okada Pac, Joe Swerve. Bucks FTR. Thunder Rosa, Toni Storm, too. That's a good card. It's a very, very good card.
Well, Fight TV has the special now if you get the 3-pack where you pretty much buy 3 AEW pay-per-views for the price of 2. So I have Dynasty. I have the next 3 AEW pay-per-views because I thought that was a pretty good deal.
Nice. That's nice. Yeah, it looks fantastic, AEW Dynasty. So I'm looking forward to that. Next week, we will preview it. Before we wrap, Dark Side of the Ring that we saw this week, right, John? Chris Colt. A guy I didn't know anything about, which is very rare that you catch me with a blind spot in pro wrestling, but I didn't know anything about him. So it was very interesting to hear his whole story as a homosexual wrestler making his way in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Definitely a difficult time for him. Led down some dark paths. He had a very difficult childhood that affected him greatly in his life. Drug use. Friendship with Janis Joplin at one point. Like a very interesting, colorful character. Quite a life that he led. A very interesting gimmick, really ahead of his time. Looked a lot like Brian Pillman. I feel like Pillman was influenced by him.
Kevin Sullivan.
Kevin Sullivan, for sure, influenced by him. I feel like a lot of wrestlers that I grew up watching must have been influenced by this guy because I saw a lot of them in him. Yeah, it was really cool to get to know a wrestler that I really didn't know anything about prior to this episode. So this was one of the rare times where I watch Dark Side of the Ring, where I go in completely fresh, completely, with no knowledge, no background, no history or anything. It's the 60s and 70s, especially the territories, and he wasn't like a really famous wrestler. He was just kind of a guy that was known, that was interesting. Like, he never was a world champion or anything, But he was around. He made money in the wrestling business. He was a respected wrestler among a certain group, but, it's more the crazy stories and the tales and the legends. Sad story in the end, but quite a story, quite a life he led. A cool episode of Dark Side of the Ring this week. I like it. I like it when they tell me stuff I don't know. I like when I learn about a new wrestler and, everything that they've done and everything that they went through in their lives. Because so many of these guys I know, right? Brutus Beefcake, Owen Hart story. I mean, we know all these stories, but Chris Colt I never heard of. So that was cool.
Well, it really shows you the potential the show has, not just what we've seen from big stars, but the fact for people that you don't really know about, the stars that aren't really stars in a sense. Because like a lot of wrestlers may not be famous, but they have interesting stories to tell, and he definitely, very interesting story. The whole in a cage on LSD and thinking there's spiders getting in the ring with him and going out of the ring and then attacking fans, and then one of the wrestlers comes in and like defends against the fans. Like, that seems chaotic and crazy. And then him trying to attack his colleagues in a car, and then they attack him and try to run him down, and it's pretty insane. And then he gets into porn as well, because why not? It's wrestling. That goes hand in hand, right?
Yeah, why not?
It's quite a story.
Yeah, that acid story was crazy. Doing acid for a steel cage match and thinking giant spiders were coming in the cage trying to attack you. Imagine being a fan watching that go down. He starts like attacking the fans, punching them. That's nuts. What a move. That's a real 1960s wrestler move. I don't think the boys are doing that anymore, doing LSD and jumping in the ring. It's not happening anymore.
Well, there have been moments where there have been fans attacking wrestlers, or wrestlers even attacking fans. It happens. It's just very rare. And I think it's because now you catch that stuff now. Now you'd be all over YouTube or something.
Super chat.
Doc Ellis. You ever heard of Doc Ellis? He was a pitcher in the major leagues, and in 1970, with the, I believe, Pittsburgh Pirates, took LSD, pitched a no-hitter.
Wow.
June 12th, 1970, no-hit the San Diego Padres on LSD. So this is something guys were doing back then, Guys were doing LSD and then going and doing professional sports. Chris Colt didn't work out so well. For Doc Ellis, no-hitter. Pretty good, pretty excellent, which is incredible. It's why it's one of those stories where you go, what? But it's true, and it happened, and that's why we still talk about it today.
I thought you were going to get into some personal stories, but I guess not.
I've done LSD, but I don't really have stories.
Do you remember,
do I
experience?
Do I remember it? Yeah, I remember it.
Okay.
I didn't. There's there's levels, right? I mean, he probably took a very high dosage of LSD and tripped out, and but also the drugs do to you what your mind kind of allow. If a lot of people, when they have like a lot of childhood trauma and stuff, and they do some of those psychedelic drugs, they have issues. It doesn't react well with them, right? But if you're kind of fine and you don't have any childhood trauma like me, nothing ever bad happened to me in my childhood. I had a great childhood. My parents took care of me and everything was cool. Nobody touched me inappropriately. Nobody beat me up. I wasn't bullied. Nothing bad happened to me in my childhood. It was excellent. I grew up in the 90s. It was the best time ever. So, when I do drugs, I don't have bad experiences like that because I don't have that type of traumas. Thank goodness.
No one complained about your homosexuality. Like, what Chris Colt had to go through. Like, that was terrible.
What do you mean, my homosexuality? What are you
It's
trying
not
to say?
yours. I realize now I said that wrong. Like,
Yeah, when you said that, I was like,
his.
nobody complained about my homosexuality. No, that'd be a weird thing to
Yeah.
complain about. It's
No,
not a thing that's
that was
really
wrong.
existed for me.
I meant Chris Colt's because he had to go through
I mean,
that.
sexuality is a spectrum, brother, but I'm not on that. I'm not in that area of the spectrum, brother.
But the trauma he went through in that, and the fact that he was banned from that town because of that, wasn't he?
No, did he?
And I think that's what really got to him. It's like, oh, I got to show them, and that's, I don't know if he ever got through that. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy in those days. You had to hide who you were. It's really good that we have evolved past that. It's really good. And I hope that we continue to evolve and accept more and more people and their lifestyles in all forms, trans community, all sorts of different sexuality spectrums. I think the world should be more accepting of that all the time, because you hear these stories about what just gay people had to go through when they weren't accepted, and it is horrific, and you wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy. And then you see now what trans people are having to go through, and the bigotry and the hatred and everything that they have to go through, and you're like, this is the same. It's the same of what's going on, and it's eventually we're going to look back on these times and go, wow, what were we thinking? What were some of us thinking, So be an ally and support all people, because everybody is just a person and they're not trying to do anything to you. No one's trying to do anything to you. No one's trying to disrupt your way of life. Let people be. Crazy. I feel bad for Chris Colt, and I feel bad for anybody. Thankfully, like I said, I'm a straight white man. I never had to deal with any kind of bullshit like that. I had a good childhood. My parents were cool. But so many people have to struggle because of who they are. Not because of anything they've done, but they're persecuted and treated like shit because of who they are as human beings. That is wrong. You should never be treated poorly because of who you are as a person. Who you are is who you are.
Well said. Well said, without question. And I feel in wrestling it's definitely improved.
Yes.
From when Chris Colt was around.
Mm-hmm.
Even with we saw that with Pat Patterson, he wasn't as open about it, but he became more open about it until eventually pretty much everyone knew about it.
Yeah. But
there's a dark side too. I'm not going to get into the whole little thing about that, but I'm just saying that the fact that he, was homosexual, that was kind of hidden.
yes.
I'll get into the other stuff.
Sure. But he also was a powerful figure in the WWE. And this is getting into something that I don't want to get into right now, really. But was he not still Vince's right-hand man when Undertaker beat the absolute shit out of Chris Kanyon for being gay? Because when Undertaker found out, he got all disgusting about it and then beat the ever-living shit out of him on SmackDown, that you can see, and it's horrific. And he did it on purpose because he's a bully. I don't know how Pat I wonder what Pat was thinking when all that was going down.
But I don't know if Pat was really, like, if he was around. I don't think he was around all that much, though. At that point in time, because that's what, the early 2000s? Like,
He
Pat,
was still around then.
not as much, though.
Okay. Well, what happened to Chris Kanyon was horrible. And that was the early 2000s, John. That's 20 years ago. It's not that long ago. And
No,
this
it's
is
terrible.
The Undertaker. The celebrated Undertaker, who's part of the new era in the WWE, by the way. Just saying. He's gay. Let's hit him with a chair until he has concussions that could end his career. I'm gonna make him rest in peace. Because I can't handle my own feelings of repressed homosexuality.
Here's another problem.
Me and Kane have been fucking this whole time.
There's another issue in wrestling here, though, and I think it just unfortunately always happens where there's like a hierarchy where it's okay for some but not okay for others. And I think that may have happened, sadly, where it was okay that Pat was gay, but it wasn't okay for Kanyon to be because of where they were in the totem pole.
That's horrible. But you're not wrong.
It's just the way wrestling works, sadly. Or worked. Hopefully it's not so much like that anymore.
Angelo doesn't like The Undertaker. Impression.
Hey, I think he likes The Undertaker. I don't think he probably doesn't like Triple H too much, so I think that's probably why the Triple H thing works better.
Oh, maybe. Maybe. All right, Johnny, when's your next match? When can people see you?
So yeah, next Saturday, I'll be in Sudbury, so more than likely I'm not going to be on next week. But Sudbury, wrestling for the Project X Heavyweight Championship in a casket match against Magnum McLaren. I think there still might be a couple of tickets left. It might be sold out. You have to check at projectxtix.com.
Wow. projectxtix.com. Go check it out. Check out Johnny North on all his things. At North Genesis on Twitter X. At Genesis Johnny North on the Instagram. I'm at Dave Simon MMA on all the things. I'll be back here on the Ringside Report Network tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, for a massive night of fights. It's UFC 300 tomorrow. Get ready, baby. UFC 300. Hitting the octagon running. 10 p.m. Eastern Time when the pay-per-view starts. Our watch-along will begin. Myself and AJ taking you through some of the best fights you will see all year. Looking like a great card tomorrow from the UFC. They're doing it big. So we're looking forward to that. Tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time here on the Ringside Report Network. And I do want to give a shout-out to Mikhail Dufort from Montreal, who picked up a huge win. He came in as the underdog tonight against Mads Burnell in his opening round PFL fight. And Mr. Dufort, he's very fort. He's extremely fort. And he beat Mads Burnell with a guillotine in the second round. He's at Team H2O. I saw Team H2O at the Quintet Jiu-Jitsu show a couple months ago when Dufort was on the team. His whole team is stacked. He is a monster. I knew he was going to win tonight. I could not believe he was the underdog. I could not get my bet in fast enough to bet on him. And I made a decent little chunk of change on my man, Michael Dufort, tonight. He kicked ass. He's awesome. Congratulations to him. A big victory for Montreal. A big victory for Team H2O. Richard Ho, Olivier Aubin-Mercier, and the whole crew over there. A very, very strong team. I know they've got Brandon Reed teaching wrestling now, too. So they've got it locked down. They know what they're doing over there at Team H2O. They're doing very, very well. Down on Monk Street, we're going to have some more millionaires walking around. Olivier Aubin-Mercier won that $1 million tournament 2 years in a row, and his teammate, Mikhail Zufar, I think, is going to win it this year. So we're going to have some millionaires walking around Villemard here, going down to H2O to continue their rise. I think they're the best team in Canadian MMA today. So great performance from Zufar tonight. A big win, showing up in his PFL debut, coming in as the underdog. Vegas didn't know, but Dave knew. We were well aware here on the Ringside Report Network. This guy's a monster. Look out for him. He's going to win his next fight, too. I hope he's the underdog in the next one. He's going to win. He's going to win the whole thing. I'm going to bet on him all the way, and I'm going to cash in. I'm going to try and make as much money as he's going to make at the end. If I can make $1 million and he can make $1 million, we'll both hang out on Monk. We'll go to DeLalo's on Allard, and we'll spend some of that $1 million on some burgers. All right? Celebration.
Sounds like you might have to bet a lot of money, though, because I think he's going to be a heavy favorite, sounds like.
I don't think he will. I don't think Vegas is going to wake up until it's too late. I made a good chunk of money on Olivier. He was an underdog in a lot of his fights. He was the underdog in the opening round after he won the tournament the previous year.
Huh.
It was crazy. I was like, what? And then he proceeded to beat the shit out of that guy and every other guy in the tournament because he's the best. And Zufar has been his main training partner for years. You know, they've been training together forever. This is inside information that you only get here. No other MMA show in the world knows this stuff. We're connected in that way. You know, we're connected. We know. We see these things. We're there. We're at the jiu-jitsu shows. We're in that world. Fred's in that world. I'm in the world. AJ's in the world. The Ringside Report Network is in that world for you to let you know, to let you in on the world. Right?
Well, I look forward to a couple hours, a big UFC 300 show.
Yeah, man. That's why we're here. That's why we're the insiders, keeping you inside the game of MMA and professional wrestling. Johnny North, a great pro wrestler, and Freddie and AJ and I, some mediocre grapplers, but we know some great grapplers, so we get information. You know, that's how it works. I'm like, like a low-level grappler. I'm not that good. You know, I'm pretty good. I'm not terrible, but I'm not good, you know. But I know some guys that are good, and, that's how I know things. That's it.
AJ's medium, you said?
AJ sucks. We all suck. We all suck in the grand scheme of jiu-jitsu. Like, in the grand scheme of jiu-jitsu, AJ would admit it. I'd admit it. Fred would admit it. Like, even though we could tap, most people walking around, we suck in the grand scheme of things because the levels are just, the levels are ridiculous. The guys that beat me aren't even that good in the grand scheme of, you know what I'm saying? Like, some of them actually are, but it's just, the level of jiu-jitsu just gets so high that if you're just an average guy that's not training 6-7 days a week, you're not that good. If you're not training at least 5 days a week, you're not that good. And if you're just a regular person who's like not a full-time jiu-jitsu athlete, there are full-time people who do this. I'm just saying in the grand scheme of jiu-jitsu, there are professional jiu-jitsu players out there that are mind-blowing.
Well, AJ's almost a black belt, though, so...
Yeah, but there's still levels to black belt. AJ's a brown belt, but there's levels to brown belts. There are brown belts out there, there's probably 1,000 brown belts out there that would kill him, There's levels to the game. Like, you know how many black belts are in the UFC?
I'm going to say at least like a couple hundred.
Yeah, and some of them are better than others, right?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Levels to the game. And they're really high level, John. All those guys in the UFC would kick our asses, The worst fighter in the UFC beats up everybody, in a given room. You know what I'm saying?
But sometimes you get, there's a guy like Punk that you think you can take, so
I think I can take.
Possible. Did you say you could take Punk? I thought you said that.
Of all
earlier
the
in show.
UFC fighters in the history of the UFC, I think he would probably be. Yeah, I think in a grappling match, I'd have a shot. I don't think he's training that much these days. He's a pro wrestler. His body is pretty busted up. He's older than me. He's bigger than me, though. I think.
Yeah, that's it. He is bigger.
He's probably quite a bit bigger than me. But I think I could probably heel hook him. I might be able to catch him in a leg lock. Yeah, I think I could catch him, possibly. I mean, if he's not training that much, he got to like a blue belt level and then just kind of quit. I think I'd have a shot in a grappling match. In an MMA fight, he'd probably beat me because he's had MMA fights. I haven't. He'd probably beat me in like a fight, but like, who knows, man? Sometimes things happen. Weird things happen. You catch somebody. Could I beat CM Punk in a fight? Interesting question. In a jiu-jitsu match, I'd say strong maybe. In a fight, I'd say probably no.
Well, as
Probably
a fan of
not.
both, I wouldn't want to see it as a fan of both of you, but I wouldn't mind seeing you destroy one of the Paul brothers, though. I'd love to see that.
I think they'd both beat me up. They're very big. And they train really hard, and they're really athletic. And they were, I think, high school wrestlers at the very least. I think Jake Paul and Logan Paul in like a fight would beat me up real easy. They're big. They're big guys, man.
Sad. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, John. I can't be a hero for you, you know? I know guys that could beat up Jake Paul or Logan Paul. I could get those guys to get them. But, like, I don't know. I'm not the biggest guy. They probably outweigh me by 50, 60 pounds at least, maybe 80 to 90. And, like, I don't know. They're training a lot. They're in good shape. They're younger than me. I'm getting old, man.
Well, you're not done yet, though.
And I'm humble, too, you know? I'm not going to say, oh, I could kick this guy's ass, I kick that guy's ass. That's rude, you know? Maybe I could. Maybe I could get them. Who knows? I mean, they're not really doing jiu-jitsu as far as I know. Maybe I could get them. I do jiu-jitsu, you know? I'm training. I tap people out sometimes. It happens.
The size difference, though, you are right about that. That is a big thing.
I mean, there are guys much bigger than me that I handle with ease. Doesn't mean I'd be able to handle those guys with ease.
Right.
You know, depends on the person. Depends on their skill level. I don't know what their skill level is in grappling. I'm not really sure. I haven't really ever seen Logan Paul or Jake Paul grapple. I've seen them box. They're better boxers than I am, that's for sure. They beat me in a boxing match. Easy peasy. Bet against me, Shohei Ohtani. I'm losing that one.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, he didn't do anything.
All...
Yeah, it seems like he didn't do anything. It's a real suspicious story, but I think his interpreter is the only one who's mad suspicious. So,
yeah, looks like the Dodgers are clear for the World Series now.
Are they?
Well,
Yankees?
no. The Orioles are coming back now.
What are you talking about? Yankees have a doubleheader tomorrow.
Okay.
They got rained out today in Cleveland. Doubleheader tomorrow. Yanks and Guardians. I think 12:05 first pitch, and then 6:05 for the game 2. Yanks are currently atop the AL East with a 10-3 record. Orioles are 8-5. Your Boston Red Sox are 7-7. The Blue Jays are 6-8 in dead last in the East, but the Central Guardians 9-3. So two division leaders going at it in a doubleheader tomorrow. Might knock one of these teams out of first place. Guardians and Yankees. What team did you talk about? What team were you saying? The Dodgers. Yeah, they are in first place in their division in the NL West, 10-5 right now. They're doing well. The rest of their division is terrible, though. The Padres are in second place with a 7-8 record. They're below 500.
It's a good division for the Dodgers.
The NL West and the AL West. No, just the NL West. Sorry. The NL West is the only division right now with a second-place team that has a below 500 record. That's pathetic. That's too easy for the Dodgers. That's not right. You know? Doesn't seem right.
It doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you make your way there. That's it.
Meanwhile, the Red Sox are a 500 team. They're in 4th place in the AL East. The Red Sox would be in 2nd in the NL West, 4th in the AL East.
We've said this before, like, the AL East is the hardest division.
Yeah, by far. I'd say by far. All right, guys, we're done. Angelo says, good luck with your match next weekend. Johnny dropping a super chat. Thank you, Angelo. Ray Cruz dropping a super chat. He says, thanks, guys. See you at Raw. Yes, Ray, we will see you at Raw. All right. So thank you, Ray, for the super chat. Thank you, Angelo. Thank you, Harold Schneider. You're the super chat leader of the night. Thank you to all the members checking in here tonight. Nice to see you all joining in live. Angelo, Contagonis, Ray Cruz, Antoinette, Leor, Jason Pete, Harold Schneider. So many members checking in who have signed up over at join.ringsidereport.net. Join.ringsidereport.net. Support the channel. Keep us going. We got a big show tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, for the UFC 300 watch-along. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow right here on the Ringside Report Network.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word.
You know the drill. Hit that subscribe button. Flip those notification switches.
We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see you again next time.